let's spend some more time to look at the Agile Factory model. Actually, I like this model and I like it a lot because it's a great model to show both the differences in mindset and ways of working between a traditional and an agile organization. And it also helps us to highlight which challenges we will be facing when we're trying to use a traditional approach with integrated agile elements. And today I want to look at you at the flow perspective. So let's just assume we have work flowing through the system and examine what will be happening. And I'll just show you the challenges that we'll be facing on the way. So the yellow cards are work items. So in the beginning, we start with one work item. It needs to be discovered, described, ideated, created, specified. At some point in time, this work item will be handed over towards IT, where it will then be developed. But until this time, everybody else is idle. So yes, okay, they can be doing other things until that time, but it doesn't even make sense to integrate them before they can be doing development work. So while the first experimentation and ideation on the product is happening, the organization would typically choose not to involve those people at all because they're not adding value. So this one gets handed over so they can start working on the next thing. After it's been planned for iterations, it will be in development, and the next work item will be in process here in this chain. So everybody's busy, so that's good. Then comes the point in time where the agile teams will deliver something to operations and take on the next item. And then the design and validation area will be working on yet another item, and there's already something in the backlog. So this is the perfect process. So this looks all good in theory until we get to the issues. The Agile team doesn't fully understand what was meant with the story specification, so they have some questions regarding item number 2, while item number 3 is in specification. So how would the people who design and validate respond? Obviously, sorry, we're busy, we'll get around to it when we have time. Okay, the other alternative is they should be doing this if they want to make sense. That is to not be busy for the question and instead be busy with the question towards item 3, which will then, of course, be delayed. So any questions, any feedback will be causing delay to the next item in the pipeline in the design and validate process. So item number 2 is in process and they have a great idea. Let's do something a little bit different. Now we have a project manager here, and the most important thing for the project manager is to deliver their project in time. And this new idea wasn't scoped from the beginning. So what do we do with this one? Because it's not in their scope. Easy, we'll do it later when we have time for it. So it will probably move somewhere down here in the pipeline and it won't be done. But this was a great idea with potentially a lot of business value, and we'll just do it later because we need business value anyway when you have projects to do. So what else can be happening in the process? You have some bugs in production. It always happens. You tested, you verified, but you made assumptions about what users will do, and regardless of how foolproof you make something, somebody will make a better fool. So we have a bug. They're busy with item number 2. No, you can't be busy when you have a production defect. No problem, we'll take care of the defect. So we're busy with the bug and delayed on item number 2. So item number 2 doesn't get done either. So what happens? When they solve this issue, they'll be delivering a fix. But the fix can't be installed when their operations people are still busy doing other things. So they will say, you have to wait with this fix until we're done doing the things that need to be done to stabilize the system in the first place. So what looks like a very easy and smooth flow from the beginning becomes a nightmare in practice, because those things don't just happen once, they happen all the time. And the more work is actually in process in this chain, the more interruptions you will have, and the more severe the issue of busy, wait, later, and waiting for input become. So the more questions you have, the longer it takes to proceed with the next story in design and validation. The more quality issues we have, the longer it takes to get an item completed. And the more issues we have in production, the longer it takes to get a new update into production. So technically, we are creating a system that accumulates delays. And those delays are the reason why this process, although it looks good, becomes difficult in practice. Now, it wouldn't be nice to just say this one is difficult, don't do it. I also want to suggest an improvement here. First improvement is to do proper DevOps. And that means development and operations should be collaborating very closely together, ideally be in the same team, share responsibility, so that you don't get into this kind of ping pong, no, we are getting this from you, we have to wait from that, but that it's a shared responsibility, joint prioritization, and the people who work on this and this, they share common goals so they don't cause delays for each other. And the next thing that can simplify this process is that you put design and validation together with development, so that you don't have this handover which causes those busy delays down here. And that also helps to resolve the issues in the flow. And finally, just by having scope projects, you start to defer good ideas. And deferring good ideas is usually not a good idea. So if you have a good idea, it shouldn't go through this kind of cycle at all. It should be within the domain of the product owner to prioritize a good idea. And if more information is needed than the team has, you just pull some people into the loop who can actually help implement this good idea, so that everything stays together. So this portion basically disappears, this one shrinks together, and the result has a name. It's Scrum.